Hey guys, my name's Jonathan Reich. I'm a licensed CPA in the state of Louisiana, and because I'm a licensed CPA, I spend all day long looking at accounting software, looking at things like how I can save time, how I can save money, save hours to build my clients, and stuff like that. And so it's now January 14th, 2026. It's early in the year, and I wanted to talk about what platforms I see that are really AI centric for 2026 that I think might make a splash. And you can see I've got my contenders up here. I've got some of the old guard in here. You got QuickBooks in here. We've got some of the newer folks as well. But some of the key features that set AI apart from these AI platforms apart from some of the other like contenders like Zero, for instance, or Sage Intacct is it allows you to do the bulk of the transactional data, in my opinion. So you're no longer having to sit there and hit match, 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 match to the expense account. It just automatically goes based off like bank text memo, or if there's a paired invoice out there in your accounting system, it's going to say, oh, this amount, this date match, this payment, and it is for office supplies or something like that. So it can save you a ton of time. And then a lot of these AI accounting platforms, they surface the exceptions to the top. So you're not having to review every single transaction. You're only having to review the ones that the system can't figure out what they're for. And so the first one I want to talk about today that I think is probably like really top tier, it's definitely one of the top two in my opinion, is Digits. I think Digits is, there's a good chance in my opinion that Digits could be as ubiquitous as QuickBooks in the next 5 years, maybe even shorter than that. I really like the platform. It's really easy to use. It's got exceptional drill down capabilities so you can find out why this transaction is the way that it looks, why my balance sheet looks the way that it looks, why my profit and loss is a little different than what it was last month, and the AI will generate all of that for you, gives you insights and these nice pretty charts. It's really impressive, honestly. And so I like that. I like what they charge for the platform. I think they charge a very fair price, especially when you consider like how quickly some of these costs can balloon. $100 a month, $35 for their starter, which is not yet available, and then if you need custom solutions, it goes up from there. But what sets them apart to me is the ability for their agentic AI agents to basically take the bulk of the workload off of your plate. And so you can see here it's flicking through, but things like the bank feed, most of it's automatically categorized. Invoices, you drop them in. OCR and AI are going to pick up who it's to, what it's for, give you an expense line, the amount, the date it's due. You just got to pick how you want to pay and when you want to pay. It has tons of different smart like billing features. The vendors and customers, you can have all kinds of reports. Like it's just really well thought out. Now, it does a really good job for like a lot of small businesses. Where I don't think it would really work is if you're heavy manufacturing, if you've got a lot of inventory, or if you're doing like project or cost accounting. It's not quite there yet. And that's why I said give it about 5 years. In about 5 years, if you look at the change log that Digits has been publishing, they're constantly updating the platform and adding capabilities, adding new modules, things like that. And so it's really impressive, and I'm interested to see where they land. But overall, very robust platform at a fair price that can take a lot of the bulk of the work off of you. So that's the key difference with these agentic or with these AI centric AI native platforms. The next one I want to talk about that I think is really kind of making a splash is Puzzle. Puzzle and Digits go hand in hand. They're very similar, oddly, like eerily similar. They both have really well laid out softwares. Puzzle leans a little bit more into that startup type vibe. Like they have a lot of key analytics and things like that that are really tailored to startups, and they do a really good job of tailoring their platform to be like software as a service centric. So we've covered that Puzzle is really, really good for software as a service companies, but like, why is it AI centric? Why am I including it on this list? Well, it's very similar to Digits, in my opinion. It's been trained on a lot of data, a lot of transactions, probably billions and billions of dollars. And because it's been trained on and using those models, it has a surprising degree of accuracy as well. And so with that, you get a lot of that transactional data. It goes away. You know, you'll just need like a bookkeeper, a staff accountant, something like that to basically check it. You want to keep it on a leash. All these AI models, you want to keep them on a leash, make sure that they're not coding things incorrectly. But once everything is kind of set and in the groove, unless you've got weird transactions that need to be flagged, um, it's kind of set it and forget it. Now, I do like Digit's interface a little bit better. I think it's a little bit more clean, but Puzzle wasn't made for folks like me. Puzzle, like I said, is kind of geared towards software as a service. And so with that, it has a lot of good plugins, a lot of API connections. Obviously, you're going to be able to connect your bank account, Mercury, a lot of payroll providers, stuff like that. But what sets Puzzle apart is its ability to do revenue recognition over time. For instance, like for software as a service, you can hook up Stripe, and when your deliverables are met, it can help to correctly accrue interest. Now, you are still going to want a controller or a director of finance or a CPA, someone who kind of understands ASC 606 and makes sure that it's just not booking revenue willy-nilly. It's actually being earned. So that can get a little complicated sometimes, but it does assist with that. And so I think that's a really great AI feature. I do like Puzzle. I don't have an issue with it. I think it's not going to be as ubiquitous as Digits, but it definitely has its use case. It's very, very good. All right, surprisingly, the next one I want to talk about is QuickBooks. So QuickBooks has been around for a long time. Why am I talking about it with AI? Why is it included this AI video for software companies for 2026? Probably about mid-year last year, maybe mid to late year, Intuit rolled out their latest update. The interface has now been enhanced with agentic AI. Not sure it's as good as some of the other ones out there. It definitely doesn't touch the first two because they were trained specifically to be AI accounting platforms, but it does all right. I think it's good enough. That's why I wanted to include it on the list. It can have key callouts, things like that. If you have like month-over-month variances, it can help you showcase why you have those month-over-month variances, but it's not super in depth like Digits. You can't ask it in plain English, why did my revenue decrease 30%? And then it pulls up the invoices for the last 3 months and showcases how you sent out 20% less invoices. It's not quite there yet. But for coding transactions and the day-to-day, QuickBooks has stepped up a little bit. Now with that, you're going to pay for those features. QuickBooks is notoriously expensive, and it's an okay software. It's not great. It's nothing to write home about. Most people have used it. And this is specifically in regards to QuickBooks Online. I know QuickBooks Desktop is a superior platform for a lot of businesses and folks, but this is for the online version. I don't know what's been baked into the desktop version because I have not tried it in the last year. So overall, it gets a spot. I'm not saying it earned a spot, but it gets a spot because of who it is. So it's out there. If you're not comfortable straying from the norm, QuickBooks will always be there for you, but I would recommend trying out some of these other platforms. The next one I want to talk about is Pilot. So Pilot's been around for a while, but Pilot is AI and people. And so you kind of don't have to do anything if you are using this platform. So Pilot, a lot of the day-to-day is going to be ran by AI on their in-house software that then is double-checked by people. And so Pilot is a good middle ground if you really don't want to mess with the accounting side of things, the back office side of things, the financial side of things. Pilot's free. Pilot is made for you. However, with that comes the solution pricing to your problems. You can see here that bookkeeping starts at $299, but it ramps very, very quickly to where it can be a considerable impact on your bottom line. And then if you want like fractional services, the keyword here starts at $31.50, $52.50. It starts at these costs. So Pilot's expensive, but it's for folks who don't want to have to think about it. So you basically send in all your paperwork, connect all your bank accounts, and forget about it. You'll get a report on the 15th, and away you go. Great for people who don't want to be involved. As someone who is a control freak, that sounds awful to me, and I would rather be able to have access to my data when I need it at my fingertips, but it has its use case. All right, the last one I want to talk about is Zeni. So Zeni is another AI accounting platform. It is like Digits and Puzzle in that it is a platform. It's not like Pilot where it is has people in the background. It's not like Bench or Pilot. So it's an actual platform, and it does a pretty good job. It has the agentic AI agents here, like you can see on my screen, and they do a pretty good job. It's very similar to Digits. Like I said, I still think Digits is gonna kind of spearhead that, just because of the amount of data, the suaveness, how the platform flows and works. But Zeni does a good job. I don't want to say it's like a knockoff or anything. They're all very, very similar in how these platforms are run. You're going to get your spend analysis. You're going to be able to get your key call outs for month over month changes. But I mean, if you're looking at this dashboard and you look at Digits, it almost is eerily similar, just like how I mentioned the platform for Puzzle is eerily similar. And it's probably because a lot of the same folks in the same geographic location have worked on some of these projects. So, but it's a good platform. It's going to take a lot of the transactional data away, just like the other contenders on this list. But for those complex tasks, things that require work papers, job costing, you're not going to quite hit your mark with Zeni. You're either going to need some type of third-party platform, or you're going to need some type of work paper in Excel so that you can journal entry in the things that you need. But using Zeni or using Digits or using Puzzle is going to allow you to save on labor costs, keep things constantly up to date. And that's the big driver here, is you don't have to wait for a bookkeeper to enter these items. If it clears the bank and we know it's coming, the platform can pick it up and book it. You don't even have to touch it. It'll surface exceptions. And so any of these platforms, I think, are going to be able to serve you well depending on your use and your needs. But only one of them, I think, is going to be able to like really be a QuickBooks contender in the future. Like I said, give it a couple years. I just think that Digits is so well put together. It has such a smooth interface. It's able to do so much. It might be a household name similar to QuickBooks, ones that kind of encompasses a little bit more of like those niche use cases, like managing the inventory, managing work in progress, manage job costing, stuff like that gets added to the platform over time. I could see it. Bringing payroll in-house. Digits does not yet offer payroll in-house. You'll need to hook up to something like Gusto, but the potential is there. And so that's why I think it's going to be the number one contender for my AI accounting software list for 2026. So like I said, any of them will work. Pick the one that you think is going to suit you best. Do a couple trial runs. See if it makes sense for you, and then start implementing it and do an implementation and start using it for your business. Save that time, save some money, save those hours. That's what we're here for. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.